from Toyota Motor Europe today. We'll bring you more on that as we get it.
Now, time for our debate of the morning. It's something we've been discussing all day, energy bills and how expensive it is to pay for your gas and electricity. It seems like the bills are just going up and up, no matter which company you're with. So is switching worth the hassle? Yeah, we're always being told to switch, aren't we? But do you? Well, with us this morning are Richard Neudegg from uSwitch and Mika Minio-Paluello from ecological campaign group Platform London. Good morning to you both. I'll come to you first, if I may, Richard. Now, I'm always being told it's easy to switch. However, I've tried a number of times and always hit hurdles. So I get a bit annoyed with people telling me how easy it is. What's your take on it?
Well, I'm going to tell you how easy it is, unfortunately.
I thought so. Tell me how. Why am I finding it so difficult?
So for the vast majority of consumers, what switching takes is a bill in your hand and 10 minutes with a price comparison website. If you've got the information to hand, you can put everything in, you can see what's available on the market and switch immediately. So that takes not contacting your old supplier, not having to contact your new supplier. All you need to do after you've gone on the website is give a meter reading when you switch over to the new supplier. That's all it involves. And for, you know, a lot of customers are going to see on average £200, £300 savings if they're on a standard variable tariff, and some customers with the high usage are going to see £600, £700 savings. So that is quite a big payback for 10 minutes work. Do
you really show the best deals? Because you do hear every now and again about these comparison websites that just throw up the deals that are, how can I say it, they have vested interest in those companies and they do a deal with those companies to put their tariffs up there. For uSwitch, for example, are you giving consumers the genuinely best comparisons?
Yes, so on uSwitch you can see what's available on the whole market at any given time, absolutely.
Mika, where do you stand on this? Because 20 million people are on the standard tariff. It would appear that they're being ripped off because those people that switch can get a very good introductory rate, can't they? So they think, great, I'm going to get, you know, a good rate because I'm joining the company. But if they stay with them for any length of time, then they get stung later on.
Yes, and I think we need to recognise that 2/3 of people in Britain do not switch. And that's why the MPs debating this topic today in Parliament have said switching is all nice and good, but it won't fix the problem. We need to recognise why are energy bills going up and up? What are the drivers? And at the moment, the two big causes are fossil fuels and corporate greed, effectively, that we're seeing wholesale prices, particularly because of coal and gas. Those prices have shot up in the last 6 months. That's dramatically pushing up what the rest of us are all paying. And Ofgem have also come out saying the big six have no reason to raise bills, because even though those wholesale prices have gone up, the companies have actually already bought the electricity for next year, so they shouldn't be passing those costs on to us. What they are doing in the process is pushing millions and millions of people further into fuel poverty, further and further people having to choose between heat or eat. There's solutions.
Yeah, Richard, I mean, uSwitch obviously puts the onus on the consumer to do their homework and to find the best deal available, but the MPs debating this today, should they really be focusing on the big energy companies and almost forcing them to give their customers a better deal as standard, if you like? Because why is it that one energy company, you know, will charge you £200 more a year than another one? You're still getting the same energy.
The trouble is that energy suppliers really need to feel the power of their consumers. They need to feel that there's a genuine threat that their customers will leave them if they take them for a ride. And I completely agree, Mika, with what you're saying about 2/3 of people are overpaying for energy. They absolutely are. That is a major scandal and it does need to be corrected. The important question is how we actually go about that. And some of the solutions that have been suggested and might be talked about today by the MPs about forcing suppliers to put people on a certain deal, you know, quite frankly, suppliers will behave in a certain way. So if you say suppliers, you have to put everyone onto the cheapest deal, suddenly the cheapest deal no longer exists or is the same price as the SVT, the standard variable tariff, was in the first place. So the danger with those sort of potential silver bullets is that it makes people feel like we've sorted out the problem, but actually just gives the big six energy companies a license to continue to print money for themselves.
Well, what about, I can see you wanted to come back in there. What about the price capping idea, the relative price cap, where, you know, there's a limit between your cheapest deal and your most expensive deal? That would make sense, wouldn't it?
I definitely see a logic in having a price cap because we shouldn't have bills that are going up further and further and further. But where we are now and where we are last year was already too high. So the real question we should ask is how do we change our energy system so we're actually bringing it all down? And there's quite simple solutions. One is we need more locally run, publicly run, council run energy companies. We're seeing a couple, Robin Hood Energy from Nottingham, Bristol Energy in Bristol, and Sadiq Khan here in London promised in his manifesto that we'd get a fully licensed supply company as part of Energy for Londoners. Got to see if he delivers on that or not. Those can deliver cheaper, cleaner and more democratic energy because they're local, because they're not paying massive bonuses to the directors. They're ultimately bringing down the costs and creating local jobs, making everything more accountable. If you tie that in, the government basically could take 3 simple steps to make energy cheaper. They can support local energy companies, then they can retrofit, insulate our leaky homes. Britain has the leakiest homes in Europe. That would make an enormous difference. And thirdly, they could stop blocking the cheapest form of electricity in this country, which is onshore wind. That would make quite a dramatic difference.
Yeah, Richard, renewable energy, that always comes up, doesn't it? And a lot of people saying, why isn't the government investing in this? I suppose they've got so many other areas that need more immediate money. They're not looking long term. But, you know, should they be investing more in renewable energy?
Well, there's a very important question there for the government about putting their money where their mouth is on some of these things. But just to touch on a point that you were raising before about community energy suppliers, that is actually a really beneficial way to inject some more competition in the market, you know, more options for people. And the same with green as well. So we've seen some suppliers enter the market recently that are focusing on green, so offering consumers the guarantee that if they take energy through them, not only will it be a bit cheaper, but they'll also make sure they get green energy sources. This is another example. You know, we focus a lot on using the power of consumers to make sure they get the absolute cheapest price. But for consumers that are especially concerned about green energy, renewables, switching is also a device to put pressure on the big 6 to say, you know what, if you're not going to offer renewable energy sources, I'm going to go to a supplier that will.
Yeah, OK. Richard, Mika, really interesting to discuss that with you. As we said, MPs debating that issue about cheaper energy prices and what they can do to help you. Later on today, we'll bring you the latest here on Sky News. Now, Adam's coming up next at 10 o'clock with All Out Politics. What's in store, Adam?